O'Rourke Bravo. I think you were the one that precipitated the conducting of this hearing. What relief are you seeking? You're muted.
Thank you. Um, the hearing process in California came to a conclusion on June 20th. New orders were instated on June 20th of this year. I'm requesting that the new orders be recorded. And also, now that there are no pending cases in California, that jurisdiction again be reviewed with the intent of having the jurisdiction of this case moved to Kansas. The argument for that is that the current new orders, line item 3.02 state, commencing with the date of the signing of this court order, the children shall reside primarily with the mother in Butler County, Kansas. Noting that the children's primary residence and state of residence remains in.
All right, guys, listen up. The courtroom's heating up fast as Miss Bravo steps in demanding her case be moved from California to Kansas. She's calm but determined, explaining that new orders were finalized back in June. Her argument? The kids live in Kansas now, so that's where the court should rule. The judge listens carefully, knowing this could flip the entire custody battle upside down. The tension's thick, everyone's waiting to see if California's grip on this case is finally about to break.
Butler County, Kansas. And so under the UCCJA, I am requesting that a subsequent judicial review occur with the intent of change of jurisdiction to Kansas.
All right. Let me address Mr. Bravo Hernandez at this time. Are you opposing the relief that's being sought here?
Absolutely, 100%. We just got done with a court hearing like a week ago or a week and a half ago, and I feel like we're back to square one. The California court did not release jurisdiction. There's a reason why, because they have more background information on the situation, and it is my intention to try to get this move away order.
Now here comes Mr. Bravo Hernandez, and trust me, he's not holding back. He's furious, saying they just had a hearing a week ago and California should stay in charge. I'm not letting this go, he fires back. He wants his kids brought back to California, claiming the move away order was unfair and based on false grounds. You can feel the frustration in his voice. This dad's been fighting for years, and he's not about to let jurisdiction slip through his fingers.
Removed, and hopefully bring my kids back to California, where they're supposed to be located.
But wasn't that addressed at this last hearing in June? In the specifics of where the children are living now,
right,
and where they're going to be, seems to have already been submitted to the California court and resolved in essentially the mother's favor. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it was. They granted that move away order. But it is my, I don't know, I'm going to try to take any and every route that I can to, try to get the California court to somehow remove this move away order, because it was granted under circumstances that should not have been granted. But they did this last court.
The judge cuts in sharply. Wasn't this already handled in June? She asks. But Mr. Bravo doubles down, saying he'll take any legal route to reverse that move-away order. He insists he's not trying to start a new fight, just trying to be a part of his son's lives again. His voice cracks slightly, mixing anger with exhaustion. You can tell this isn't just legal to him, it's personal. And this courtroom feels like the last battlefield he's got left.
Court hearing, they did grant me custody in this situation, and I am attempting to gain more custody of my sons. This situation is it has way more background information, and I understand that there's legal proceeding and stuff, but I want to be involved in my son's life, and what Ms. O'Rourke is attempting to do is cut me out completely. The schedule that she's attempting to push in this situation is not something that's workable for both of us. Obviously, it is important for a parent to be involved in their son's lives. And what Ms. O'Rourke is trying to do is she's trying to cut me out completely because, as we all know, we all work and we have employment.
All right, guys, you can feel it now. This father's emotions are boiling. He says the mother's new schedule cuts him out completely. He's worked hard, trying to make time for his kids despite his job, but he believes she's weaponizing custody to shut him out. The judge listens, her expression unreadable. The courtroom air is heavy. This isn't just about geography anymore. It's about two parents at war over the future of their sons.
And the schedule sometimes is not, well, Ms. O'Rourke is proposing is just not something that is good for my schedule, my work schedule, for my life schedule. It's not something that is flexible. And, that's something that Ms. O'Rourke should have taken into account when she removed our kids out of the state. And hopefully the court does not grant her the ability to do that, because she will cut me out completely out of my son's life. And that's what she's been doing the last 6-7 years.
Again, are you suggesting that this court should change the orders that were made in California?
No, I'm proposing that the order that California just granted me to leave those orders and let it stay.
Judge steps in again, calmly trying to make sense of this mess. Are you asking me to change California's orders? She questions. Mr. Bravo stumbles a bit, saying no, he just wants those California rulings left alone. He admits it's been stressful bouncing between two states, to courts, and to realities. His tone softens for a moment, revealing the toll this long custody war has taken on both sides.
And I'm not really sure how. I know the last time you met with a judge here in California, and I think the last situation that I heard was that California would keep jurisdiction of the court hearing, so we wouldn't have to go back and forth through the Kansas and California court. It is kind of stressful to have two different courts dealing with this situation, at the same time.
This court really isn't dealing with it up to this point.
Okay.
This court deferred to the California courts,
right,
handling the case at the trial level for this hearing that you conducted in June.
Right.
I don't think that it would constitute a permanent relinquishment of child custody jurisdiction, but only for purposes of the fact that we had contested matters potentially pending in two different courts at the same time in different states. California decided to keep jurisdiction for purposes of the trial which just took place.
Now the judge starts laying down the law. She reminds him that California handled the trial and Kansas only deferred out of respect to avoid legal chaos. It wasn't permanent, just temporary jurisdiction. She clarifies every point with surgical precision, making sure no one misinterprets the court's power. This judge means business. She's seen too many of these cross-state battles, and she's not letting emotion cloud the legal framework.
Issues were presented to that court and resolved in some ways against you as the father of the children. And I recognize that you may be dissatisfied with the rulings made by the California court, but
actually in my favor. The last situation was in my favor, and it's been probably about 6 years since I've had a decision in my favor, and so that's why I am in agreement with the California court in terms of the parental situation that they kicked out, because I honestly feel like it's more important for my sons to be around me than mom's been around them for quite a while the last few years.
right. So you think that the California ruling that was made in June is
all right, guys. Here's where it flips. Mr. Bravo suddenly says the California ruling actually went in his favor. Wait, what? The tension drops for a second as he explains the July order gave him partial custody rights. After 6 long years, this dad finally caught a break. You can hear the relief in his tone, but the judge looks puzzled. If California's ruling helped him, why fight to move jurisdiction now?
Favorable to you?
Absolutely. Compared to actually not the June order, it was like early July, I want to say. Um, Dang, has it been that way? I think it's been like the early July, maybe late June. But yeah, they ruled in my favor to keep the current custody order, which so I have to complete 6 different visits out to Kansas, and in August I already scheduled my visit to go see the boys on August the 21st to the 23rd, and then the California court agreed that they should be sent to California during the times that they gave us like 9 different dates or something where the boys will be sent out to California, and we'll both be responsible for covering the cost of those visits.
The father explains it clearly. California granted him visitation and shared custody rights. He even booked his next visit to Kansas to see his boys. For once, it seems like progress. But deep down, both sides know this is far from over. Every ruling, every word in that courtroom could trigger the next wave of legal warfare. The judge stays focused, trying to balance fairness with the reality of 2 states' conflicting orders.
All right, let me make sure I understand what I'm looking at here. I see an order of child custody and parenting time filed 6/20 of 2025, but the hearing date is listed at 1/15 of 25. Is that not the most recent order that was entered in the California court?
That is the most recent order. The original and temporary orders, this order was put into, I'm sorry, can you hold on just a second? Sorry about that. Someone just like barged into this room. So we had the original hearing was on January 15th. The orders that are before you were put into temporary place on January 15th. And then a subsequent hearing was had on June 20th to review whether or not the temporary orders would be made permanent. On June 20th, the January 15th orders that were temporary were made permanent. These orders are...
All right, guys, things get wild. The judge starts piecing the timeline together. Orders from January, hearings in June, updates in July. It's a legal maze. Suddenly, the mother gets interrupted by someone bursting into her room mid-hearing. Even with the chaos, she keeps her composure, walking the judge through each ruling. Her voice is steady, explaining that the June orders made the temporary ones permanent. Kids in Kansas, regular visits to California. She's not trying to change anything, she just wants the right court in charge.
That the children reside primarily in Kansas and visit California about every other month during the year. I'm not contesting these orders. What Mr. Hernandez is referring to in terms of the move away order was an order that was put in place 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. I think it was almost 3 years ago now. No, 2 years ago now. And that order hasn't been contested and hasn't been revoked. The children continue to reside in Kansas. And as Your Honor said, like, California retained jurisdiction without prejudice during the course of the proceedings from January to June. And because jurisdiction was retained without prejudice, it was made clear to me by the judge in California that at the conclusion of the hearing in California in June, that I would then that I needed to re-request the transfer of jurisdiction so that any changes moving forward would be heard by the Kansas court. So the orders that you have in front of you are the current orders. The primary residence of the children remains in Kansas. Under the UCCJEA, I am requesting that jurisdiction be moved as it was the change of jurisdiction in California was denied without prejudice previously, and it was recommended to me to re-request. And that is what this request is.
Judge listens as the mother lays out her case with calm precision. She reminds the court that the California judge recommended she reapply for jurisdiction after the June trial. I'm not fighting the orders, she says firmly. I'm just following the court's instructions. Her tone is confident but respectful. She's not here to argue, she's here to follow the law. And you can feel the courtroom shifting. This isn't a fight between parents anymore. It's a question of which state truly has the final say.